And joining me now in studio, it is an honor to speak with U.S. Ambassador David Jacobson. He is outgoing today. This is, well, almost July 15th. We have a few more days left with him here in Ottawa as representative of for the United States. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Well, thanks for having me on this special day.
It's 4 years flies by, and I can imagine it has for you. I remember 4 years ago, the first time we spoke, and it was on this day, certainly when you were planning your big July 4th celebration. You have just a small party happening there today.
Yeah, we have about 4,000 folks coming into my backyard. Fortunately, we have a very big backyard.
Yeah, you have a beautiful residence.
It'll work out okay. It's great.
All right, I want to talk about the last 4 years, and let's start off with what you would consider to be your biggest accomplishment in your tenure here.
Well, you know, there are a lot of individual things that we've done, the beyond the border effort, regulatory cooperation, a bridge over the Detroit River, how we've worked together, Canada and the United States around the world. The thing that I am the most proud of, though, quite frankly, is I think the relationship between our two countries and the fact that when things go wrong, and they always will in a relationship that's this big and this deep, that people take it in stride. They understand how good this relationship is, how close the relationship is, and I think that's a little bit of a change in tone, and I'm very pleased with that.
Do you think that relationship between Canada and the U.S. is strengthening every year as we go?
We have the best relationship between neighbors in the world. I guarantee you that there is no country in the world that would not trade their problems with their neighbors for Canada's and the United States problems as between ourselves.
One of the biggest issues in recent years has been the Keystone XL pipeline that affects both our nations. How could this, you know, it's been a very dramatic and controversial topic. We're expecting a decision from President Barack Obama later in the fall, as I understand it. How could this have been handled differently, you think?
Well, you know, it is an issue that the Canadian people and the American people are both wrestling with. And that is, how do we strike the right balance between our need for energy? You know, there's lights on here in the studio. We drove here. Everybody heats their homes. How do we find the energy we need in order to do that? And at the same time, preserve the environment, preserve the climate for our children and our grandchildren. And this is exactly the same issue that we're both struggling with. And I think it's a debate that's healthy. There's nothing wrong with this. We're being careful. We're trying to sort our way through it in both countries.
Right.
And I think the more careful that we are, ultimately, the better off we will all be. And whatever relatively small delays in the scheme of time, we're probably better off for it.
What have you learned from us as Canadians here?
I've learned an awful lot of rules about hockey. You know, I have learned, part of it is what I've learned from Canadians, maybe part of it is what I've learned from my job, but I am much more tolerant than I used to be, although my wife is around the corner, she may disagree, but no, I am. You know, Canadians are good people, they are kind people. I know it's a stereotype, but it's a good stereotype, and there are worse stereotypes to have. I have learned the importance of the difference in historical experience, that we today are celebrating a revolution from King George III. You never had that experience, and that permeates both of our cultures. You had this English-French history that we didn't have. And I've realized the importance of history to culture, to government, to the essence of what it means to be a Canadian or an American.
I heard you took a ride on a Zamboni.
One of the highlights there, I'll tell you, because of security, I'm not allowed to drive.
Okay.
Somebody drives me around, and the only vehicle that I have ever driven in the country of Canada is a Zamboni.
Okay, I think we have some viz. Yes, we do. We are looking at it right here. So it was at Scotiabank Place you did this. Oh, you're putting on a Sens jersey in this viz. Are you a Sens fan?
Well, I was that day.
You're a Blackhawks fan, of course.
I am indeed.
From
I am
Chicago.
indeed.
So what was that experience like being on a Zamboni?
It was unbelievable. You know, first of all, you have to see, this was a total shocker for me. I was told I was going there to give an award to some school kids, and I went out and they said, well, there's no kids here, but you can drive a Zamboni.
Oh, Oh, wow.
And I hate to say this, but it was kind of a fantasy that I've had for a long time. And I had said that to my staff, and I had said, you know, it'd be terrible. I'm going to leave Canada. I'm never going to get a chance to drive a Zamboni. And so there it is. And there are two things I've driven, and actually did them in close succession. One was a Zamboni, and then a couple of weeks later, I flew an F-18.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not sure which one was a greater thrill.
Oh, boy. If the Zamboni competes with this CF-18, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that may make you an honorary Canadian, and now that you've been on a Zamboni, if that's a big thrill for you, as it would be for most Canadians.
It was incredible. It was just great.
And just to wrap up, you're heading off to BMO?
I am. I'm going to, they own a bank in Chicago, which is my home. Going back to Chicago. I am looking forward to that, but I will tell you, I am saddened to be leaving my job. I am saddened to be leaving Canada. This has been the most extraordinary 4 years of our lives. We will never forget it. We appreciate the kindness, the warmth that the Canadian people have shown us, and we will never forget it.
Well, we welcome you back at any time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
U.S. Ambassador David Jacobson sitting in with us this morning on this 4th of July. He's got to head back for a party a little bit later, just some 4,000 people in his backyard.